Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 27 of season 4 Forever and Ever, the Killie Fans podcast, coming to you live from Limelight Studios in Irvine. And for the first time we're proudly sponsored by our new partner. It's Allied Surveyors Scotland, Nick Davis specifically, and a wee bit more to come from them later on in the show. But we're feeling very professional tonight. We've got our sponsor and we've got a professional next to us. It's not just me and the one and only Killie Cow. We've got Scott Watson joining us tonight from Now Ayrshire Radio, amongst other things. Scott, welcome to Limelight Studios. How you doing, man?
Thanks a lot, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. You've listened to it since it started, and where you guys have got to now, it's incredible. And honestly, hats off to you. It's incredible the work you do for the club, and listening to you, you've saved many a long journey for me when I'm travelling to perform all over the country. So thanks for having me. I'm right nervous, by the way.
No, keep talking, man. What do you think, man? What do you think of the fits and that, man? Get stuck into it.
Honestly, it's unreal, man.
This is good. No, we're thrilled to have you along. We'll talk a wee bit about your career and your sort of journey as a Killie fan as we go along. We've got loads and loads to get through the night. Obviously, we've not actually done a main podcast since the new management team got announced, so we will need to talk about that. We obviously had Livingston on Saturday. We've got Dundee in the Cup coming up this week. All your Twitter questions. The gripe of the week is here as well. All roads lead to Killie. I've done it.
Oh, have you? I was going to say I didn't do it today, so I was hoping that you were going to bail us out and we're just going to kick the can down the road another week.
We're being professional tonight, man. It's professional. Back to a shambles next week. Back to the shambolic stuff next week. But Killie Cow, how are you, my man? You alright?
I'm good, thank you. Aye,
nice to see you.
Excited to get going here, because obviously we get, well, everything that we put out last week within about 12 hours became old news,
obsolete.
So it did so then we, being the media personnel that we had to get an air podcast out there ASAP, and done alright in the views, and that. I've been quite good on that, man, as well. People
demanded it, man. You know, it's just, we are but a vessel, Scott. You know, we just stay with the Billy Bunters are after, man. We just do it. But so let's just get down to that then before we do anything else.
Yep.
Last Tuesday it was announced that we've got a new management team. Neil McCann has come in alongside Billy Dodds. The world in football, as it does, moves very, very quickly. So they've already had a game. We're talking about new signings and stuff. I'm sure we'll get into all that through the questions. But we'll come to you first, Scott. You've got your show on Now Ayrshire Radio on a Saturday.
Yep.
You're regularly talking about Kilmarnock and all that. What was your first response when you heard that it was Neil McCann that had got the job?
I think just like everyone else. One of those ones where you kind of seen the list at the start when Kettlewell was sacked, and I'll be honest, like when I looked at the list I thought none of those names I really want. As time went on, you kind of heard other names coming into the fray. Steve Bruce with your t-shirts, I was getting very excited about them.
Aye,
so we're going to get one tonight.
We're going to give them away on the on the Patreon.
And then when Neil McCann got announced, I'd heard the night before that it could be happening, and then obviously it did. One of those ones where I'm actually quite optimistic about it. I think he spoke brilliantly in his press conference, referencing, Killie managers that he had worked with before or knows really, really well, that had been in contact with them before. So instantly he's making sure the fans know he knows exactly what he's coming into. But I'm actually quite optimistic about him. And let's not kid ourselves, when he was in the dugout with Rangers last season, him and Billy Dodds were the brains behind that operation. There's no doubt about it.
Aye.
And they got a really bad Rangers team playing and coming from behind quite often. Like what happened the horrible night at Rugby Park when we were 2-0 up. We'll no talk about the rest of it. But if he can at least put some of that passion that they show at the touchline into the players, I think that's what they're needing more than anything.
Absolutely, mate, fair enough. So Carl, you've had a week now to digest it. We obviously spoke at length last Tuesday about it. Have your thoughts on it changed any? Have you got any new insight or opinions on it? How are you feeling generally?
Not particularly. Again, I was actually I was probably in the minority where I was actually at peace with the appointment, to be honest. But again, I've said for some time that he's somebody that I've admired for afar, and I think that he talks a lot of sense. I think he's a great communicator. But you look at his managerial record, there isn't much to shout about. But I think that, as Scott's just touched upon there, they completely rebuilt their stock at Rangers. Well, particularly in the likes of Neil McCann. Dodds has been a decent manager in his own right, but that job has got them in the conversation again. Whereas a year ago, like before they get the Rangers gig, you would have never seen anything like that coming, and folk would probably be up in arms about it. But certainly, even there was stuff like that creeping in over the summer when Burke was linked with the job. Folk were saying, "Oh well, maybe if McCann was to come in as his number 2, Ken, just out of nowhere, it's completely rebuilt his stock." But I think that again, Scott makes a great point there about the Rangers team was good at coming from behind, and obviously that's evidence that we saw on Saturday, because a lot of folk will look at it and say, "Oh well, they didn't do outstanding at Rangers, but they were in free fall at the time." You know what I mean? And as Scott said, they got them competitive again. Massive results, particularly against Celtic and in Europe. And I think they maybe only get beat once in the league, once or twice in the league, I can't remember. 2 disappointing results. I think it was at home to Motherwell and Hibs. But other than that, they kind of done alright, and they just gave the place a bit of a lift, and that's exactly what we need to know. So
going on to Saturday then, like you just referenced there, man, like, we got done 1-0 at Livingston. The setup was totally different. We kind of started to look like quite a straight 4-4-2 with Thompson playing in front of Larsson, which I thought was quite unusual. I preferred Thompson a wee bit further up. Some of the replies to that, when I said I think Thompson's own personal brand of chaos is slightly more efficient further up the park, and somebody went, I wonder if he could play even further, kind of like maybe in Dingwall or something like that. So I mean, it wasn't great again, but as you said, the motor down here, the positives to cling on to are the fact that we did go down 1-0 and we didn't play particularly well. Maybe slight improvements, I would say. We looked at like a wee bit more structured, and it looked a wee bit simpler in a positive way. But down 1-0, under pressure, and come back and draw 1 each. It's one of the. I don't ever think a point at Livingston is a good result, but there you go. That's just me. But what was your take on the game yourself, Scott? What did you think?
See, I'm of the thought that it was a good point in the regards to we're on such a bad run at the moment, and for me, one of the highlights of the game was seeing Rory coming on. I thought he gave us something that we've not seen from a midfielder for a long time, even from Davy Watson. He's kind of went off the boil a wee bit, but Rory got on the ball, he turned and he went by 2, and it gave a bit of space for Lewis Mayo to whip in the cross for the goal. And I just feel like that's something that we've been missing. You know, people taking on people to give space to others, and then it creates an opportunity. I feel like we've not really had that this season, mainly because there's no wingers. But McCann, evidently in his career, was a first class winger. You'd like to think in January right now, and I'm sure we'll come on to them, it's got to be wingers in the door. And for me, I think when he's used the squad that, you know, he's not necessarily picked, it's been what's been handed to him. I seen enough on Saturday in terms of fight, commitment. We had good spells, and let's not kid ourselves, Livy should have been down to 10 men after 3 minutes. I know, do you know what I mean? So for the boys mentally to even come back from that, you know, because that could have set the trigger off in their brains of this is going to go against us again the day after 14 games. I just thought, get a point down the road, fresh start on Saturday in the Cup, and let's get going.
Aye, alright, fair enough. So that's us at 100 days now. It's 100 days today since we last won. 4th of October. You never seen the game, Carl. You were out on your siblings' day out, which was fun, I'm led to believe.
It was, aye.
What did you sing in the karaoke?
Various songs.
Aye.
Oh, Talking Heads, This Must Be the Place.
Oh, right, good one. Aye, okay.
And then me and John sang Creed together as well.
My Sacrifice.
Aye, and
2 Creed songs.
But bear in mind, it was your own private karaoke.
Well, that's good for the people of Glasgow.
Well, not as much with the talent of my siblings, maybe more so for the likes of myself. But of course, Matthew and John and Julian Carrot, to be fair to them, have all got half decent voices. But the only thing that I could compare it to was, I mean, I had a bit of optimism, thinking, right, maybe this is just what we need. We need the new manager in and the place will lift. But let's not be kidding, the squad's absolutely horrific. Like, you know what I mean? When you're talking about options, and particularly options off the bench, and not even any wingers in the team whatsoever. But there was obviously a bit of optimism for me that maybe things would click, but I couldn't get signal. And then I checked my phone after about half or 40 minutes and seen we're doing 1-0, and I was genuinely, like, again, this will sound really, really pessimistic, but I wasn't even angry. I was just like, that's us, like, that's our fate. I was like, we go here the day we get beat, we're never coming back for that. We've got the new manager and it's supposed to give the place a lift, and we're still getting beat. So I was pretty done anyway. Like, I was accepting our fate at that point. And then I was able to check at the end of the game and saw we get the point at it, and I was like, well, that's only a good thing because I had us dead and buried. So again, for that, for my opinion, I think that is a good point, because I think last week, 10 days ago, whatever, we don't come back for that.
That probably kind of chimes in with what you're saying. I mean, it's another week without a win, but it's another game in Livingston having gained in and on us. So I suppose you need to take it for what it is. And we want to see a lift quickly for the new management team, but they've not had very much time at all on the training ground to implement any new ideas and stuff like that. However, there seems to be talk of new signings already. Some brilliant work for the Killie Chronicle. Ewan Payton, friend at Pod. Seems like Finlay Curtis for Rangers, it seems like it's fairly far down the line. I heard reports that it was actually at Rugby Park today. Don't know if that's true or no. That seems to be one Alan Forrest or not. And going back to that thing you said, wingers wise, how do you feel about them as potential signings?
It's got to the stage now where it's like, get anyone. Winger wise, I had a chat with my best mate, and we were comparing the squad last season to this season. And even when McInnes played a 5 at the back, it was Danny Armstrong and Matty Kennedy as your wing backs. Do you know what I mean? So they were attacking, like they weren't defenders at all. But this year it's proper defenders we've got in the wing pack positions. So instantly you've lost 2 attacking threats on the park. Not really changing the formation, but just due to personnel. So for me, I think Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, I think any manager that was coming in would have identified the wingers are what we need. And that's kind of what blew my mind a wee bit, that Kettlewell started the season and thought that having Tiffany as the only option was alright.
We were just saying that in the on the way up, weren't we? Exactly what I said. I was like, even though we all know he was committed to whatever this system, he was got to play with the 2 10s, but you've still got to cover yourself. You know what I mean? You've still, even if it's guys for England that are maybe 18, 19 year old, and I've always said 100 times that I want loan players to come up the road that merit, that are a grade above what you could ordinarily afford. But McInnes was good at covering the squad with that. Even guys had no intention of playing, but at least there were options if and when injuries struck. And exactly what Scott said there, man. You're talking no wingers in the building. Well, Scott Tiffany, and even for that, he's just trying to play him in the kind of 10 role, and that seemed to be his favoured position when he first came in. And I even think when Tiffany's, again, I didn't watch the game on Saturday, but even when he's come on to give us width, he's hidden when in at the middle of the park most of the times as well for me, when he's supposed to be your only natural width in the team. So I completely agree. And
it's there you go. McCann's not even been in a week, and it's 2 wingers we're after. It's no one, so that it's obviously a glaring omission in terms of the squad makeup. You're hoping at least one of them are in by Saturday, because just to freshen things up even more than anything else. Before we move on to Saturday, final word on the Livy game, which wasn't a great spectacle, but a point gained. The red card incident, so the centre half of Livy basically gets 3 bookings within about 6 minutes. Martindale hooks him before he gets sent off. It's so unbelievably frustrating, because the first booking, I mean, the referee must know when he books him after 90 seconds that he's putting himself under pressure
straight away.
And the second booking, right? I think the second one's a booking too, probably the letter of the law. I actually kind of get it. I'm like, game up, right? It's very quick. The kind of rhythm of the game will be completely disrupted after 4 minutes. You maybe go, that's you, mate. That's you. But the third one, I'm like, he must go here. He has to go. And 2 minutes later, he's been subbed. It's the referees in it, and then we'll get onto the penalty later on. But I mean, I wasn't even shocked really, man, when I seen it, because it's what you've come to expect, but such a poor refereeing display. I thought
it's like you said, when the referee did it after 90 seconds, you go, you've absolutely set the precedent here, that anything that guy does now, it has to be a booking. And for him to go and do 2 fouls immediately after it, I mean, I'm sure something happened like that at St Mirren away, didn't it? Was it Adam Rooney or not Adam Rooney? Sean Rooney.
And it was the Mandron as well.
That's what I'm thinking. And it was
he got hooked or not?
He got hooked as well. And it's like, how does that happen against us? Because I mean, and I think someone mentioned it in your questions about Liam Donnelly. Remember him at Ross County where he booted the ball away? And it's like, these are just wee things that go against you. But then the other thing that we're going to talk about
probably goes the other direction. What did you think, mate, of the booking? You'll have seen the highlights.
Exactly what you've said, to echo those thoughts exactly. I'm like, the refs made a rod for his own back by booking him so soon, and I don't even think the first one is probably a bit of a harsh yellow, to be honest. I think, but it's the ref that's made the decision. He's put himself in that position. So therefore, for me, the most obvious yellow is the second one, where Lyons breaks it away and he gets brought down. Simple as that. That's a yellow card every day of the week. But I get why he doesn't go to his pocket, because he's like, right, I've let you off. But the minute he gets into that air one, you're like, well, mate, that's your luck up now, man. He's got to go. And as the old cliche goes, well, Martindale's done the ref's job for him. But I need to give a shout out again to Robbie. He messaged me before he came on saying he's doing the pod tonight. I said, well, aye, of course, usual. And he just said 100% a penalty, never a second yellow. So that was his.
All right.
Just ranted that.
Well,
so.
I would agree with the penalty.
Well, I said I agree with 50% of what he said.
Aye, I thought. But so I suppose to play devil's advocate slightly, then I don't think they're all dead clear bookings, right? Like the second one for me is the most obvious one, right? But that's of no consequence now.
Exactly.
When he books him the first time, it's like, well, these are the rules we're now playing by.
Yeah.
And then to totally change his mind and allow Livingston that leeway to sub him, it's like, it's no cheating, right? But it's like, it's incompetence.
Aye.
And you don't know how that game's going to unfold. So as it's so frustrating, and I totally understand why McCann was pissed off. The penalty, again, I'm quite happy to admit here.
Lyons is trying to give us one of them every week, man.
Aye, I know.
Honestly, that's a bit, because I think he got away with the one. Was it St Mirren as well? I thought it was a stone penalty and all, and nobody said anything about it. And then the Aberdeen one's obviously close to him, but his arm's still out, and then he's done it again. So I'm like,
that's to me the clearest.
Aye, it's a stonewall penalty, man.
I could not believe that they went and looked at it and never gave a penalty.
Yeah, I was the same when it happened at real time. I was like, that's gone back. That's a penalty. And I remember just looking at the clock and going, 93rd minute, you are having a laugh. And then when they didn't give it, I was like, no way, man. If that was against us,
you'd be
absolutely fuming. But I mean, we've had our fair share of harsh VAR calls now, and they always say, don't they, that it'll even itself out over the season, and take it up the road. What a point. Get going again.
Maybe it evened itself out on Saturday. Yeah.
Aye, well, that's that. But it definitely is a different game. You're playing against 10 men for 85 minutes, as opposed to obviously that lapse of concentration at the end for Lions. But again, to just get back to the second yellows, had they not committed the third one, folk would still be saying, he's got to go after the second. But I would still be on here now saying the same thing. I can understand. Out of the three challenges, two of them are yellows, get what I mean? Whatever way that you cut it up, because as you said, the refs went to his pocket early, he's made a rod for his end back, and that's the rules we're now playing by. So he's daft enough to dive into two challenges, he's got to go. And
my mate, we were chatting about it, and we said, do you think it would be different if the ref booked him for different challenges? So say the first one he said, that's a warning,
right,
and then he books him for the second and he goes, calm down, and then he does the third one. Do you think the ref's more inclined to then go, no, do you know what, I've literally just told you 10 seconds ago, second yellow, off?
That's a good point.
Aye, that wouldn't surprise me, because I do think the referees, I think that's the biggest flaw, is they're all caught up, and they've not got cool enough heads to apply the laws. They get too wound up and caught up in the way the game's unfolding, or like you're talking about there, like, that feels like it should be a bit, or I better know. It's like, mate, apply the laws, mate. Like, apply the laws that you've now set.
Well, you know yourself, it's particularly again when it comes to games against like the likes of Rangers and Celtic and that, and you know if these always get their back up about decisions, but it's always that, even if the likes of like a contentious corner gets given, you know the minute the buggies are at the box, they've got to find a foul, because the pressure was on them for doing something about
the psychology.
Exactly. So it's frustrating, but again, at the end of the day, it's nothing new. Other teams suffer for it, and we certainly get away, because I mean the chances are they score a penalty at the end, and we've got away with a point there when Levy rightfully should have had a penalty with the last kick of the ball. Right,
so another point on the board, and a rest for league business this weekend. We've obviously got, I know it's the Super Bowl is on the horizon now, Royal Rumble soon. Does it get more exciting than Hampton Dundee in the Scottish Cup, boys? I mean, talk about
a horror.
I assume it's sold out. There might still be tickets. I mean, it's a shite draw, but but it's almost, I've seen a few folks saying it's like a free hit almost, because maybe the pressure's off slightly. We'll come to you first, Cal. What's your thoughts on that? How are you looking at it as a fixture on it, saying, are you wanting to go there full pelt and try and get through in the cup, or is it more about maybe experimenting this time because of the situation we're in?
We need to win. we need to win for somewhere, man, because you're on the game's coming up and you don't know when the next one will come for, and the most winnable out of all the fixtures is Dundee at home in the Cup. So and again we referenced before the 97 team were in a kind of relegation battle, and the Cup run carried them through and got them into the momentum of winning games again. So for me, I think that I know that one person watching or listening to this wants Kelly to go to the Cup on Saturday, but I think that the experiment is right, especially if we get these two new wingers in. I think you've got to give them a chance and try and bed them in a wee bit, but we need to progress in the Cup, man. We need to start winning games.
Aye. Of the same opinion, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you reference back to when McInnes was in charge and we were kind of scraping at the bottom of the league in the first season back after we came up, do you remember like the bottom 6 fixtures just before it? He came and he was like, every game's a cup game now. And it was that mentality of the players of 90 minutes, have to win, go for it. I think it's perfect timing. Get the league duty, don't think about it. This is a cup game, 90 minutes, go out there and win, and then apply it to the rest of the league games that you have to save the season. So I think it's good timing. A team that we're up against, if we can get a few points on the board, try to catch in the league, I think mentally it could be the best thing that could have happened to us, drawing them. That's my opinion.
Especially
maybe
when
not
we've already beat them in the League Cup as well, and we put them out there as well. So I agree with you, but if it comes down to that kind of psychological battle in that we put them at the Cup on Saturday and we get within 3-4 points of them, with them still to play twice after that in the league, like you've got to fancy your chances.
Aye. So, and we're badly needing a win for somewhere. So as ever, we'd encourage everybody to get along to the game if you're able. I was being facetious, by the way, just in case anybody thinks it actually is sold it. But I get along if you can, obviously, and get behind the team and the new management. It's their first home tie, and we're hoping that there might be some new bodies, which would give everybody a lift. I think to get 1 or 2 new players in for the start, and hopefully take the pressure off a wee bit and get a badly needed win, because we're now on officially the worst run in the club's history.
I think so, because that's us surpassed the 15 games now, isn't it? So
I mean, that's good times. Yeah.
It's a break, innit? This cup game. It's one of those ones. Move on from the league, get focused on the cup, and I mean, some of the players have experienced the semi-final at Hampden, so that's the carrot at the end of the day, and the fans want it more than anything. Do you know what I mean?
Would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Well, you and I were on here greeting many times this season, particularly when we've been putting the clips out, and remember somebody was giving me a bit of jip for saying about how we underperformed massively in the
because
cups.
You said we should be getting to a
semi-final every
5 or 6 year.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's an over. Don't think we're overshooting that for a club of Kelly's size, but anyway, we are going to say that obviously. Right, Scott. So let's turn to you before we go across to the Twitter questions and all that. So, you've brought in a beautiful item as well, which I'd like you to show everybody, which is quite special. But tell us about what you up to just now. So you're obviously doing your show on a Saturday. You were in Panto recently. You've got a show coming up and all. Tell us all about it, man.
So full-time performer. So I'm travel the country, doing all the holiday parks and stuff. Do the cruise ships. As you said, had Panto at Christmas time. Done that. That was my 10th professional Panto that I've done now.
Can't believe it. You're meant to come in and say, "Oh no, you didn't."
I was disappointed in Cal there, to be honest. Like I thought something was coming.
Must happen, man.
You set him up for it and he missed it. It's all right. Man. We'll rehearse it. We'll run it again.
We'll run it again.
Nobody noticed, right? But in Panto, it's the best job in the world, man. The Panto stuff, just getting to have a laugh with people who become your pals very, very quickly. You're in there for 6 weeks in total, 10 days rehearsal, and then you're into 40 odd shows.
Wow.
Two a day, sometimes 3 a day. Don't get me wrong, it's nice you get Christmas Day and Boxing Day off, which is good, which was gutting this year because usually I'll get to the Boxing Day game.
Right.
But this year, of course, because the 27th was a Saturday, they didn't change it, so I missed out. So I've already looked for next year. Boxing Day's a Saturday, so
you'll be getting the game. Good, man, good. Await your broth.
It might be the Friday night, Christmas Day. But in the Panto, performing everywhere.
Who were you in the Panto then?
So this year I was Wipey McBotty. So usually it was Wishy Washy,
right?
But
the Wishy
they changed it a wee bit
to
for certain reasons. We did Aladdin. It's been great. As I said, I love it. I wasn't meant to do performing as a career.
All right.
I was going to do sports coaching, and then my dad was like, look, don't give up on your singing, go and do the singing. Went and did it, and luckily now I've been able to combine the two careers in terms of entertainment and sport, doing the sports show and the radio. My dissertation at uni, I actually did the similarities between theatre and football.
Oh, cool, man, right.
Which was great. I had Rory, who is a friend of mine from school, Rory McKenzie. I had Craig Brown as well, God rest him, for an interview. Brilliant guy. Just anything I asked, he was there. And I looked at this whole, there's a few English clubs and mainly German clubs were using acting teachers for kind of coaching experiments about a thing called emotional recall.
All right, cool.
They call, so basically in the theatre world, they used to, not so much now, but they used to use it as if someone was wanting to act like and cry and set up different emotions, they would go back to a point in their life that they felt at their lowest, and it would trigger it, which is now proved to be quite dangerous in this day and age with mental health and stuff, so they don't really use it as much. But football clubs and sports teams were using it in the other way of whenever you felt your best, and it reset people's minds and stuff. So I looked at all of that, the psychology of it, which was incredible. And before I went to start performing full time abroad at all the kind of hotels, I was in coaching at Killie with the youngsters just when the plastic pitch went in, which was great. So it was a dream for me. I was walking out at Rugby Park on the plastic pitch training these kids, and just before I left I was in chat with Gary Locke about going in and doing some of this emotional recall stuff, and then he got the bullet, so it never happened.
There you go.
So no, it's something I'm quite interested in looking into a bit more and seeing if there is that kind of,
it's almost that sports psychology kind of thing, isn't it? Which is huge now, man.
And it was brilliant. I mean, I looked at so many teams that have used it before, like the acting stuff, and it does pay dividends, and there's a lot of teams that have been using dance teachers as well. And I mean, I'm not going in to teach anybody dance, that's not happening, but it's
but McCann is cancelled the loan because he's getting a dance teacher in. Can you imagine the meltdown?
Oh no,
on the KillieFC.com forums? But
it's really interesting, and I urge anyone to go and look at it.
Cool,
about the psychological and how theatre and sport all come together. It's
interesting, mate.
You send us your dissertation separate to read it? I'd love to read that.
Yeah.
That sounds class, man.
Didn't get that high a mark, but I can send you all the details. But it's really, it was brilliant to delve into, and it was something that Craig Brown was like, you know, we always tried to get the players to think back to their better times. And do you remember when the fans started responding like this? He's like, so I can see why this is something that's so big. So even him back in the 90s,
I
was looking at that sort of thing.
And you've got your show on a Saturday, Now Ayrshire Radio.
Yes.
You have Gary Holt on. I've seen you've had Kurt Broadfoot on.
Yeah, Kurt Broadfoot, whose debut was an absolute stormer, man. So we looked at the new FIFA just came out when he made his first show, his debut, and I got all the old players that are on the show, Johnny Bailey, Gary Holt, Kurt Broadfoot, I got their old FIFA cards up, and we were comparing their pace and dribbling. Kurt Broadfoot's pace, 31.
I was going to say that.
And what was his first? He went, can I swear? He goes, fucking hell, man. I'm in the radio and I'm going, no. I was like, beat that. And he's like, no, I'm not having that. He's like, that's a disgrace, man. And he goes, search Scott Boyd. And I'm like, he's got 39 brothers, he's 8 faster than you, right? Boydie. And I'm like, Boydie's 46. Nah, I'm not having this is a joke. He was raging about it, like, but
pace wasn't his strong suit.
No.
He would have got a hunter for what is it, shithousery though, wasn't it? He would have been tremendous at that. But you did that on a Saturday, you love it.
I love it, mate. I like you guys with this. I'm a Killie fan, I'm a sports fan. Getting to do the entertainment on the radio and just so happen to be sport, it's just my dream job, man. I'm loving it. Always wanted to get into radio sort of stuff. I'd kind of done off the ball a couple of times with Tam and Stuart. Always been interested in it. Tam's been a great help with me. Any questions, he's helped me out, and absolutely loving it. I mean, never, like when I started out being an entertainer, did I think I'd be going to press conferences and quizzing managers and stuff, and by no means least like I am not a journalist. Do you know, that's not what I'm about. I'm there to try and get questions that me as the fan wants to know.
Well, you certainly delivered that, man, because I remember at the time, because in again obviously the likes of Ewan it isn't in the broadcast pressers, but that's the ones that the club put out. And how many times have we said like so mundane and Ken, and you could tell the absolute, because it was just towards the back end of last season, just there to get in on it. And the questions for Scott at the end, you're like, somebody's like, well, there's a Kelly fan obviously in there, you know what I mean? And you said yourself there, you're not a journalist, but that's actually a blessing in disguise, because folk are too feared to, even though you're not even asked there in disrespect for that, but you're just asking what you as a fan want to hear, and it cut through, and you definitely done your job, man.
Thanks, mate. No, it was one of those ones where I'm going in there and it's like it's a Kilmarnock press conference. And it was my first ever press conference, right? Was Derek McInnes's last.
Oh, the Hearts one.
Right?
Sorry, the one I phoned Motherwell. Aye.
So I went in there and I went, do you know what? I was like, now I'd met Derek a couple of times, got on great with him, but I was like, I'm not going to make this about him, because I don't want him to feel like, obviously everyone's on him. Everyone was going to go and, you're wanting Hearts, just going to tell us you want Hearts, and that'll be it. And I remember, I can't remember word for word what my question was, but it was something about, now we're safe, Del, is there a chance that we're going to see some of the boys that won the Scottish Youth Cup a few weeks back playing in Motherwell, Cole Burke, trainer, are these boys going to get into the squad? And I remember Del's face just kind of going, a question that's no about me going to Hearts. Do you know what I mean? So
clever, man.
And it was great. The same with Stuart Kettlewell, I had a good relationship with him.
So did we.
So much so that I was actually at the Scotland Denmark game, and up tapped my shoulder Stuart Kettlewell with his kids, and he was like, oh, how are you getting on? He's like, when do you start Panto? I was like, oh, start it on Thursday, blah 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 blah. And then a bit of an awkward story, my mum always gets me a Kelly calendar for my Christmas,
right? And
she always goes to the signing, right? And Rory's like, are you still doing this for him, man? This is ridiculous. He's 32-year-old, stop it. And Stuart Kettlewell signed it to Scott, best wishes in Panto, see you soon. And I opened it Christmas Day and I went, I'll not be seeing him soon.
Ouch.
But no, it's one of those things. I'm not a journalist. I'm there trying to put entertainment out. I mean, it's incredible now to think, like, the job you guys are doing with the podcast, you get to listen to Kelly, you know, twice a week with a patron as well. Us doing the radio show, we give Kelly, we give the other side of Ayrshire, I mentioned as well. We do a lot on the west of Scotland Football League, what people will know as the juniors, which doesn't get any coverage anywhere else. So the show's just built up, and I mean, the reputation we're getting now, it's great. Get so many people listening, messaging in, and it's just been dream job.
Magnificent, man.
Excellent.
And nice to hear it. And what about this item you can show everybody before we take take some of the Twitter questions? Look at this bad boy,
and you can show it to the camera.
Right, so here we have one of the all-time best away shirts.
Absolutely.
For 98, 99, long sleeved as well,
yes, right? With the patches as well. We'll show
absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
But
SPL.
As if it can't get any better. Who does it belong to? He's blue. He's white.
We'll need to pop the collar up as well, just so it looks proper authentic.
There you go.
Magnificent item, mate. How did this come into your possession?
Well, it was my old childminder, who some people listening to this might remember, Debbie, that worked in the ticket office for years and years and years at the club. She used to be with the old kit man, and when I was 5-year-old, she brought it home, and when she was child looking after me, and she said happy birthday. Then I opened it and it was Paul Wright's top, so it was just incredible. Kept it ever since. I remember it being so baggy on me back in the day, and now it's like a modern football top where it's skin tight. So,
I know the feeling, mate. It's fine.
But no, it's I love it.
Beautiful, mate, and a cracking tap as well. Thanks for sharing all that, man.
No worries at all.
Very, very interesting, mate. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a wee very quick message for our new sponsor, and after that we'll head over to the Twitter for your questions, alright? Allied Surveyors have been carrying out home reports and valuations
across Ayrshire and here in Kilmarnock for over 20 years. Lifelong Kelly fan and company director Nick Davis is here to help you if you want to get your home valued and sold.
Right, so that was a message for Allied Surveyors, who have been very kindly offering to sponsor us. Nick Davis, a big, huge Kelly fan, pal of yours as well, top guy. So if you've got any issues or questions, or you're looking to get something valued or something, he's definitely your man. So get in contact with him. We'll put all the details out as we go. Right, shall we head over to the information device?
Indeed we will, but we better send our best wishes to Nick as well. You see he's had an injury.
He's done himself a disservice. He slipped in the ice and broke his elbow. But that will not affect how professionally
the money sent through it. Anyway, we're all right, man.
Poor Nick.
No, but he goes with our best regards there, man.
And what a guy he is.
Yeah, he's a top man.
Right, we'll go straight to the Niv. Right.
Oh, that's right. The message you put in the chat.
So friend of the pod, Ali Niven. Where are we here, mate? There we go. Right, here we go. It's a big one. Right, you ready? We can get moving on this. Question for the pod: was football better in the 1990s? Did it peak? We had the best World Cups, football anthems and team songs, Shoot magazine, the Wee Red Book, Ronaldo, Batistuta, Maradona skinning players whilst off his mind. Proper rivalries, semi-finals at neutral grounds, which weren't Hampden or Wembley, Champions League and STV, signings just appearing, CFAX updates, large crowds, financial parity. Now we've got shite like XG, VAR, cameras at every angle, financial fair play, clubs thinking that it's a conspiracy against them and their fan base, no ability to make an error without it being the worst thing in the world. The most bang average performances have been described as superb, good players described as world class, players refusing to clear the lines to recycle the ball, quite simply shite and very off-putting. Even at Kelly yesterday is the most disconnected I've ever felt, more so than when I lived in London, and that was in the days of Johnston out. I just feel more disconnected now. Some of the shouts round about me just left me embarrassed. A Livy player breathes on a Kelly player and I hear howls for a yellow card, and that Robertson was corrupt instead of just poor. We're not a good team, and as a fan base we have to accept that, yet still support the players that take the pitch and the new manager in the dugout. But with that we don't want to lose sight of how far we've actually fallen. That's enough for me. So did football peak in the 1990s?
Well, I would say so, even though it just kind of predates me, because every day folk always say, like, getting the whole nostalgia's an illness thing, like everybody thinks that their era was the best, but I even talk about the time that predated me. I mean, my proper peak era of football is probably like 2005 to about 2012, 13.
Right.
But I'm looking at Man United in the late 90s and all that, when football was football, 4-4-2,
black football bits.
Exactly. And again, I long for that. I think football now is absolutely chronic. I hate it. I don't watch, bad enough watching Kelly, I don't watch England at all. Although on Saturday I'm going down to see Sunderland, as I said.
There you go.
But that's because you tell me the tickets for Celtic for the league.
Aye, very good.
But
lovely stuff.
But and that's the first time I'll take in a game like that away, because
who are they playing?
Crystal Palace, I think.
No, not bad,
but again, but it's because my mate works with Sunderland, so I'm going down to see him. But again, I just think that football's, I hate it. Honestly, I hate it.
Football did peak about 20-25 years ago, I think. I think you had the right balance of still that kind of flair, that kind of, but with the athleticism, and then it's got a bit silly the last few years. It's becoming more like the NFL or something.
Wingers that don't even take on their man anymore, do you know what I mean?
Aye. What about you? You think the football peaked in the 90s?
I think, I was born in 93, so the standout football memory for me that I can properly remember is the 2002 World Cup.
Yeah.
Like, that was, for me, just seeing all these players that you'd never heard of. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't
cool
social media. Like,
you don't get that now. Like,
no.
You know all the players, you know all the teams. Whereas back then you'd watch it and you'd go, who are these guys,
folk
man?
got a move off of the back. How good their tournament was.
Totally right, man.
You think like when Senegal beat France,
yes,
and then all of a sudden you just seen this influx of Senegalese players come to the Premier League or to Scotland or whatever. It was magic.
When you were saying about black bits there though, and with the reference to the 2002 World Cup, me and my mates always used to say when we go to watch the England-Brazil game, they pulled at the telly in the school.
Excellent.
But again, white football bits were just coming in, but I remember a few years actually thinking that Beckham was playing in his socks because his bits were
white socks into the thing.
Aye.
But I think it did peak, Ali, but me and you would say that, mate, given your age. Right, Dave Lindsay got in touch. This is one for the listeners to chip in me, right? My wee boy is 3 and he's starting to show an interest in football, and he keeps asking me to take him to a game. I've been putting it off for a couple of months now because of how rotten it's been. I don't want to take him and put him off for life, but he does need to learn that it's not all sunshine and rainbows following Kelly. So my question is, should I take him to the Dundee Cup game, tell him he's too young and take him in a few months' time? Or there's the issue of him being too young, right? So what age should a Wayne be when you take him to Kelly? And could I be reported to social services for even considering taking him? Right. So, great question, Dave. Right. So I took Taylor to his first game. It was a again, talk about setting him up for a fall here. It was a pre-season game against Ross County. Again, quite surprised I got a ticket. He was 3.5. And he spent the full. We only lasted till half time, and he just spent it walking up and down at his quavers, offering them to people, which was very sweet of him. So he never really got connected to it until probably when he was the mascot. I think he was 7. So when he started getting really into it, then the Steve Clark years and all that rolled in. So what's your thinking? 3, too young? I would say it's slightly too young.
Aye.
Scott's a father.
Aye, my wee one's 2.5.
Right.
And I've thought about taking her because she does shout "Go Kelly" when any football's on the telly,
Right.
Which is great. I mean, get them along. Do you know what? Like, what I've thought for my little girl is probably taking her to a women's game.
Aye. Mm-hmm.
One, they're winning.
Aye. And you'll see them score a goal. Aye.
Second
Nice.
of all, the atmosphere I think will be a wee bit more subdued, and it won't scare them as much as what
A wee
loud
bit
shouts
gentler.
are.
That's a good point, man.
Aye.
Quite like
That would be my thoughts.
Cal, what do you think, man?
Well, I was just thinking there, it's just such a grim time to try and get anybody into Kelly in it, and you just like, and I even go back to the example, obviously me, I've spoken about my siblings a few times in this, but John and Matthew both like football, more so Matthew, but they never got it the same way as me. But I think when I first started going, I was maybe 4 or 5 year old, but it did just stick with us. I didn't need to come back to it. That was
was
me
your thing.
set up now. But whereas the likes of like Matthew and John would have kind of obviously went intermittently, but I just go to it for an early age. But I can understand why it does not appeal to folk, and I'm lucky as well with the likes of, well, Ava, my niece, to be fair, she had this season ticket beforehand when you were getting one for free anyway, and she rarely went. But now Ava goes to the football all the time, and can I get
It just stuck with you. So you went to your first game. Didn't matter really what age you were, it just landed. Just like the first time you watched an SNP party political broadcast. Like you didn't want to go back to the cartoons, you were like, that's it, I'm in.
I went to the SNP later on, I got my right wing, remember? Where I initially started for.
Aye, right, okay, let us know if you end up taking them, mate. Right, Sandy Armour got in touch. You're allowed 3 signings this window. What are the 3 priority positions?
3 wingers. 2 wingers and maybe a centre half of experience.
Absolutely.
Go with that?
Yeah.
Happy with that?
2 wingers, centre half.
Christy Sykes gets in touch. A wee distraction from league football with the cup on Saturday. How good would it be to get a wee cup run to brighten things up? We've just said that, lads. You totally agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Need to win the game. Mikey Kenmure, shall we talk about Flaggate? I mean, there's nothing else going on at the minute. Is there? Draw not great at the weekend. Only positive is that everybody around about is lost. So Flaggate, I've kind of missed this.
I've missed it as well. What was it?
This isn't the famous flag again.
Man.
What's happened now?
Oh, it's just like, did you not see all the things in the
No,
forums?
that's what I mean. By the time I come back onto the forums,
But they've now moved it out of the political forum. So,
that says it all, doesn't it?
but that's what I like. And again, but there's some folk just not really seen common sense with it. I get into a big kind of argument on it,
Right.
and as you just rightfully pointed out, what my political views were less than a minute ago. But I'm like, it's a flag, man. Chill out. He's no waving it as a act to showing the strength with the union or anything like that. It's fit by culture. I mean, like there's teams up and down the country, bloody Wrexham in Wales and Middlesbrough and
Hibs have got
Aye,
they?
Scotland, Hibs, Dundee United, Aberdeen, Celtic even had one before, but maybe it's more satirical than anything. But I'm just a bit like, I get like, I'm the exact opposite, unionist as you could get. It's far removed from one, but I'm a
Don't
bit
get
like,
this and that. Aye.
No, this is.
Kirk Broadfoot when he was saying that.
He's there with his Union Jack on.
but I'm like, I don't get too. See, it'd be different if it was an actual blue, white, and red proper Union Jack,
aye.
but when it's draped in the colours of what team they're playing on, it's a design that folk use.
There's more important things going on in the
Go
world.
and read the political thread, but
Right, I will.
I'm intrigued to see what your thoughts are on my posts on them.
You know me, I don't have much to say in these such situations. David Hanna got in touch. The Dundee Cup game, it may be timely for McCann to try a few things. The result is irrelevant. I don't see a cup run and a humping in the quarter-final being especially helpful at this stage. So a slightly different view than you have taken.
Aye, well, again, it's one of those that if we do get put out, then everybody's like, well, seasons, but again, it's all about staying up now. But your momentum, you're not finding any momentum with that. So I agree, but we can't get hammered. You know what I mean?
No.
Like if we do, then the knife's well and truly will be out.
Aye, you want to win. You want to get the momentum rolling, don't you?
Of course it is. Do you know what it is as well? See, as from a fan's point of view, like, I'm scunnered with the league at the moment.
You're fed up with them.
Like, so it's just as good for every fan to get on board and let's go on a cup run. And do you know what I mean? Because our league form might not improve massively in the next few weeks, but at least we then have the next round of the cup to go. Brilliant, let's cheer up a wee bit and we'll go to the next round of the cup.
Exactly, and it's not even like when you're talking about the whole European argument, it's not like it's a fixture pile-up.
No,
You're playing on Saturdays all the time anyway when it's a Scottish Cup. So
fair enough. Right, Graham Johnson, tinfoil hat is on. If a Kelly player makes those 2 fouls, he's off. So he's obviously talking about the Livy player. Mad the different standard we've been held to in the last 2 seasons. For example, Donnelly sent off at County for 2 yellows, 1 kicking the ball away. You see it every week and it's not a booking. We already talked about that, mate. It was a shocker, man. Gunnar Vance, most handsome man in Europe, if not the world. Should Stuart Kettlewell be up in, you can answer this on behalf of your mate here, should be up in Kelly Court for crimes against football? He had free rein to build a squad and we've got 1 winger. He got sent to the shop for biscuits and came back with 20 packets of rich teas. You were bang on what you said on the radio, Monty. This squad needs 5 or so starters at the very least. The last decent goal we scored was nearly a month ago against Aberdeen. So Kettlewell, man, he's a nice guy, is he brand new?
Do you know, like, honestly, I had no really any bad words to say about him. Like, when I asked him something, he genuinely more or less answered it. And when I met him outside at Hampden,
that was a nice touch to
nicer
be
guy.
fair.
That was nice.
Do you know what I mean? But I have to say, like, you could tell that it was starting to turn for him, because I don't know if you remember, but I remember we were playing Celtic and it was one of my last press conferences before I had to go and do Panto, so I'll be back at them this week. But I asked him about the goalkeeper situation.
Aye.
And I said, will Eddie Beach be coming in to start on Sunday because Toby can't play against his parent club? And he went on to this big spiel about how, well, I'm not going to tell you who's starting. We've recalled Corey and he'll be on the bench, but I'm not going to tell you who's starting. And I'm going, well, if he's on the bench,
just hustled me. Aye.
So it was one of those ones where it was like, did you really need to get a bit frosty about that?
It was genuinely like, it was a PR disaster from their point of view, whereas he's got a chance to just be like, no, we completely trust Eddie, he'll come in and fall back in him coming in, and that's what you were trying to get.
That's why I was asking him. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I'm setting you up here to be able to be like full confidence in the boy, and it just went, and I felt like a dick after it, because I was like, shit, I hope he's no raging that I've asked him.
We
that,
quoted that on here. I remember bringing it up
at
the time, and you definitely weren't come across a dick.
No. Aye. Okay, right, Callum, no question from me. I personally thought the press looked a bit better on Saturday, as I often felt we allowed teams to play through as previously. If we can eliminate individual errors, I think we can look up. Good point. Greg Halbert got in touch. Still haven't got my ticket for this Saturday. Better move, mate, 'cause it's nearly sold out. Was completely scunnered with the past few months, but the guilt of skipping a home game is starting to sink in. Is the cup a distraction we don't need this year? We've kind of covered that, man. And with McCann and the shirt and tie, are we now up a staunch level? Somebody else asked about the fit check. So Doddsy was in the tracksuit that we were hoping for.
Ill fitted,
exactly as we wished. We wanted them in an outfit and trackie, and it was there. And Neil went with a shirt and tie.
Aye, and a wee cardigan.
And a wee cardigan.
Aye,
and the brown brogues.
Aye,
and
brown
the brown
brogues.
Brilliant. And that flag. I'm telling you.
And Brothers is coming into the end of the season.
And Brothers is playing centre half. I thought it looked well.
Aye, it was nice to see a shirt and tie. Aye. It's almost a thing of the past now. Everybody's cut it out in the Marks and Spencers and Arne gear,
Zara gear.
Aye, and all the rest of it. So
well, I tell them the one I told you that I text my mate to say Neil McCann, Billy Dodds have come in. We've just signed a goalkeeper to the end of the season as well. And he goes, oh, who's that? And I'm like, don't tell anybody. I was like, but Alan McGregor's come out of retirement and he's here till summer. No,
Did they buy it, man? It's one of the ones that's maybe just about believe it, man. I would still take him, by the way. Right, Taylor Day got in touch. Hi, Taylor, man. First half poor, but second half much better, and great to see the substitute Mancunian Duckman striker Dackers. These phenomenal nicknames back in the score sheet for the equaliser. Hopefully this Saturday we can have a fab cup win over the Dark Blue D's of Dundee. What did you think of Big Dackers? I thought he looked a wee bit more at it on Saturday than what he has been.
Aye, I think I go back to when I witnessed Neil McCann and Billy Dodds in the touchline when they were in the Rangers dugout. It was I sat quite near to the away dugout, so I can hear all the shouts all the time. Some belters as well, by the way, but we'll go into that now. But I just remember that game, Dessers constantly getting from Neil McCann and Billy Dodds. It'll come for you. It'll come for you.
Aye.
Keep going. Keep doing it. And eventually he did go on and, I don't know if he scored that night or what.
He did. I thought he maybe scored 2, but he
Aye.
definitely scored the third.
Aye. So I just remember them always doing that. And then when I seen McCann and Dodds coming in, I thought this could be the best thing for our strikers, i.e. Dackers, John Jules, Anderson, of constant keep doing what you're doing. And I think it'll do the boys' confidence the world of good.
That's
I
interesting.
really do.
Good to hear. Right, Gavin or Hilson get in touch to say, with Max and Brandon's return on the nearest horizon, Finlay Curtis still looking promising, where do you see us realistically looking to strengthen? Do you see anyone leaving during the window? So we've said a couple of wingers and a centre half. What about anybody leaving? So the reports were coming through for you and Gaby at the Chronicle that would be up to 4 leaving.
Aye, at least.
So who would you suggest would be the 4, Cal?
Well, I would guess that maybe Williams will go back.
Yes,
So
no work does it at all.
No worked at all. And then it was one of these ones where you're like, is James Brown here? But he is, you know what I mean? But he's not been in the last 2 squads.
No,
he's injured.
no.
Evidently must be injured then. But again, I think you could pick a few to show the door. But what I'll say is I'm surprised that none of it's happened immediately. You would have maybe thought John Jules would have been one, because it was none of the ability but the short-term contract, but he's then penned a new contract before McCann was even in the building. So I don't know, I just think that the only logical one on paper they know is Williams, because he's no other player.
Aye, Williams away. Anybody that you can think of?
I don't know, and I don't know what the situation is, and it's one of my questions for Thursday is about Kyle McGuinness and Matty Kennedy, because I think they're 2 players that if they are fit they make such a difference. But I just feel with where the club is at the moment, and obviously with the obvious cutbacks and finances that we've heard about so much, are we really in a position to be able to give players that aren't contributing in the park a wage? And I know that sounds so harsh, but it's the reality of it.
No, you're right. Well, when you're cost cutting in other areas,
Yeah.
you're absolutely spot on, and it goes without saying that again that nobody wants to be injured.
Of course not.
McGuinness will be
It's not
every
their
bit as
fault either.
frustrated as every one of the fans. But no, you're absolutely right. Particularly when we're in this period where every penny is a prisoner, then you can't really be affording to give deals to guys that are playing 45 minutes a season the way things are going.
It's a good point, man. Galak, speaking of which, can't wait to see the end of DT and his P-Heart. That's obviously Dominic Thompson. 20 seconds into, he turns his back on a cross, and does the exact same a minute or 2 later. By God, I can't tolerate him. If we don't sign a single player in January but get rid of him, I think I'll be happy enough. So say what you really feel. That's what you can. I was good value for Galak.
Aye,
Says what he means and means
very
what he says.
cutting, man.
Cutting. Graham Reid, Dom Thompson. That's by the way, that's just a coincidence. His lack of awareness for the goal is absolutely shocking. Then his lack of effort to get back into defensive position is deplorable. Brilliant word. Looked decent at the start, but he's costing his goals all over the shop. The other Thompson is just as bad. That's weird, because I'm quite effusive in my praise of Dom Thompson in the way down here, wasn't I?
Aye, you were so.
I was been very.
I've been the same, mate. I've been impressed with him, like maybe not defensively, but I think like his deliveries and stuff have been not too bad. They've been better than a few I've been over the last few seasons. But I think there's a player in there.
Aye.
I just think it's
Just-
confidence
It's
again.
deep down in there.
And it's, certainly no going towards the East Stand in a confrontational manner is not going to help things. But
Well, you're saying what is he third in the man of the match?
I
In
mean,
the
I think that's the best. How the best.
His form coincided with when we were doing really well.
Yeah.
We said on here, really well.
He had 4 or 5 really good games.
Won 2 games in the trot, but at that point I was like, oh well, he probably does deserve a contract, but I'm not going to lie, the last 2 months or so has been.
He's half it for me.
But there's very few, if any.
Well, that's
pass marks
I
for
don't
me.
like to single out players. Johnny Nimbley says, once again, season ticket holders in the Muffet stand treated as if we don't count. Stand closed for cup tie against Premier League opponents. The Muffet stand is shut.
Again, I'd probably be the policing issue. You're talking about
All right.
crossing.
Well, that's a fair point though, Johnny. Kevin got in touch to say, do you think McCann has steadied the ship sufficiently so far to get the doubters on board? It doesn't help having new management and having folk on their back without a reason. So
It's very early though,
Very,
man.
very early days.
And that's what's both ways, as in folk expecting a miracle on Saturday wasn't going to happen. The Dodds and McCann were only on the door 2 days or whatever, but it goes without saying the Oilers are still 100%
Yes.
behind them. And
absolutely, mate. Gordon Bell says, of the next 6 fixtures in the league, do you see us getting more than 6 points?
I'd like to think so. I genuinely think that if there's one thing McCann and Dodds are going to give us is passion and fight and make us never say die attitude that you seen evidently with that Rangers team last season. I know that the players are a completely different level in terms of ability that were in that Rangers squad to what we have, but it's 11 against 11 in a football park. Like, if you go out there and treat it like a cup tie and we win on Saturday and treat the league games, I genuinely do see us picking up a few wins.
I really hope so. I mean, I just think it's how far removed we are that I'm like, 6 points for 6 games to me, I would bite your hand off.
It's actually good.
Which is like, and I always remember the famous quote when Alan Johnson came in and he replaced Kenny Shields, and we all knew that he Ken ditched to play all the young boys towards the end of the season when we couldn't get down and couldn't get the top 6, and then Alan Johnson said something along the lines of like it was 19 points for 19 games, that's relegation material. So then I was like, well, he's got to be held to that standard, and he never even got 19 points for his first 19 games. But I'm like, they knew you would take that because of how far off the pace we are, man.
Because I reckon we're going to end up with maybe 26, 27 points, right, at the split. But that actually represents quite a big upswing in form, and that's my worry. I think we will pick up, but I think it's too late. That's my genuine feeling. I do think McCann will get us going, and I do expect to see more points on the board, but I just even think short of him winning 6 or 7 of their games, which I just don't see. It's like good form isn't going to be enough now. That's my real worry. But we'll see what happens. Kyle Mull asked, who do we think of Neil's fit? We've covered that, of course, we do. Alibaba, I just want to say the standard of refereeing in Scotland is abysmal. Darren Steele asked about any rumoured signings. We've kind of covered that for the stuff that came out earlier on. In the short lease, Salmon Chuck, get in touch all the way for the USA. Saturday was like watching James Ellsworth versus Gilberg, and the worst part is I don't know if Kelly are the worst of the two jobbers. I'd bite your hand off for 11th and do something else to you for 10th. Do we fight for 10th or start the plan to bounce back from the champion? We're not going down. We're winning, as Big Harper said. Extra time winner in the playoffs. I don't know if I could cope with it.
They got put to me on Saturday with a radio station. How good would it be a playoff Kelly versus Ayr? And I went, absolutely not.
No chance. Nah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to cope with it.
No, thank you.
Not a chance.
I think I'd rather just go straight down.
It's no worth the heartache,
Wouldn't
is
be
it?
worth it at all. I don't think.
I wouldn't want it.
But all I'll say is that traditionally you would fancy our chances against most teams in the Championship, but unless we get recruits in, then...
But bad on needing new players. It's quite simple, gentlemen. Quite simple. Right, you got the gripe of the week there. Are you ready? Is it X-rated? Can I just go straight into it? Trust in here, man.
Nah, just throw you under the bus here.
All right. Okay.
No, I met Alan outside Tesco on Friday, and he was in good form.
Excellent, man. Right, so you ever been to Blackpool?
I have.
So this is Alan's gripe of the week.
Oh, here we go.
Who's ever visited Blackpool? What do you do? The usual stuff: candy floss, sandcastles, ride on a donkey. Now to the pleasure beach, or the resort as they're calling it now. They're charging £60 to get in and to ride the rides, and £20 just for a walk-in ticket. It's outrageous. No wonder people have stopped going. They've even started to charge the seagulls. Gone are the days we used to walk round and meet half of Kilmarnock for now. If you want gut rot, don't buy any food in the promenade in the front. I know plenty of chip shops in the back streets. The best pound burger is in Dale Street. I can't stand people who overcharge. I like a bargain. Even Fleetwood Market's starting to get expensive. Billy the Fish could go there along with the wee Chippy McCain. See what I did there? Actually don't. But anyway, hope you're all doing well. Once my brain remembers it's 2026, I'll be back ranting and raving more. I love Blackpool. It's got a very special place in my heart. Always has. Went there plenty as a chip. You ever done a gig in Blackpool?
No, not yet.
And Alan loves it. He loves to go to the Craigie Dawn Hotel.
Aye.
Loves a bit of Blackpool. But I mate, the world's in it. We're in a cost of living crisis, and Blackpool is not exempt.
Well, very apt for the show here. Two places I've never been: Blackpool or the Panto.
You never been to a Panto?
Nah.
In your whole entire life?
Nah, because I've said this before, man, because at my school, I was just got to get into the politics of school there, but we never even got to go to the Panto. They had to bring folk in to perform for us, man. And it wasn't a private school, put it that way. It was 2 boards, man. Like,
Aye.
to change
you get into the Panto?
Aye, but you went to Mount Carmel or something?
Mount Carmel I went to.
St. Sophia's in Goston.
Next year I'll get you tickets.
There you go.
See the thing is, my family go every year, like, and they take the wains and that, and they always go like the day before Christmas Eve. But I'm always happen to be busy at that time because I would like to go.
Busy.
I would like to go.
Busy.
But next year,
Sitting in the pyramid. Leather in the
my
Madry.
knee. Oh, Winston over here. Oh, my knee.
Right, we'll go to the panto, right?
Well, aye, Scott's got to get his
Scott's
tickets.
got to
man.
sort us out backstage and all that.
Aye, 100%.
I've actually been on the stage at the panto.
Have you?
I got up when I was a wee boy, but I'm a kind of
right.
showman like you.
Well, we get adults up this year for our what we call the slosh scene, where you chuck all the foam and everything about, and
Right.
it was them that was getting covered. Usually it's this muppet, but it wasn't this year. It was a member of the audience, so it was a great laugh.
Very smart.
So
Class.
Right, well, we do all roads lead to Kelly before we wrap up. It's been a
Sure.
long one tonight, right? So you've got Scott to help you out here. So we've got 3 players. We're trying to raise a wee bit of money for the food banks. We've got their career path. I'm going to read the career path out to you, fine gentlemen here in Limelight Studios in Irvine. And you need to tell me which player it is.
Yes.
Are you all right? You ready for it?
go for it.
Right, player number 1. And for everyone we get right, we're putting in some cash to the food bank. Here we go. Celtic, Bolton Wanderers, Peterborough on loan, Falkirk, Hearts, Kilmarnock, Partick Thistle.
Oh, that's Celtic. Blackburn.
Bolton,
Sorry.
the Bolton area. A wee loan at Peterborough, back up the road to Falkirk. 204 games for Hearts, Kelly, and then Partick.
Was it? Is it a fullback?
No, he was a midfielder.
All right. No, I thought it was.
Oh, any other clue? Want another clue?
Aye, he's a
2002 to 2004.
Played with Kelly.
Played with Kelly.
Oh, Stevie Fulton.
Stevie Fulton,
Aye.
Baggio.
Aye.
Right, okay, next one is Falkirk, St Johnstone, Hamilton Academicals, Falkirk, Kilmarnock, Partick, Stenhousemuir.
Gizera again.
Very, very recent.
Just run through them again.
Started at Falkirk, then to St Johnstone, then to Hamilton, then back to Falkirk, then Kilmarnock. Then
Alston.
Partick. Yes, won the league at Rugby
Aye.
Park. Quite like to get him on this podcast.
Be good, aye. Somebody said that they met him in Glasgow and he was absolutely top class.
There was a connection. I can't remember who it was that said that to us now. Was it no Fraser? Fraser Wilson?
Aye,
was
Fraser
Fraser Wilson.
Met him in the
Fraser,
Fraser, didn't
fix that for us. Right, and the final one of the night is Brentford, Swindon, Ipswich, Blackpool, Forest Green, Motherwell, Kilmarnock.
That's the main man of the moment, isn't it? Dom Thompson.
It's Dom Thompson. It's Dom Thompson.
Well in, well, £3.
So there we go, £3 we'll add it in. Alright everybody, so that's us. A wee bit of a longer one tonight because we've had so much to get through, but obviously we've got the big game on Saturday, and we'd encourage everybody to get along. Scott, thank you so much for joining us, mate.
No, thanks for having me, lads. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been a real treat, mate, and dead interesting listening to you. We're going to do the Patreon on the new management duo, so we'll get stuck into that before we do. So just before we wrap up, obviously there's been a bit of sad news in the Kelly community this week. Didn't want to do a full episode without mentioning the sad loss that we've had of Sandy and Peter. Obviously 2 very well known people across the club, and there'll be a lot of people hurting and feeling that. So just on behalf of the podcast and the boys I'm sitting with, sincere condolences out to everybody that's affected by that, and huge loss. And 2 Kelly diehards no longer with us, so I will carry them ways as we go on for the rest of the season, and hopefully the boys can find a bit of form for them. So sad news. We'll wrap it up there, gentlemen. Thank you for your company.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And get along on Saturday if you can. We'll be back next week to talk about it no matter what happens. Thank you so much.